Are we recording?
I will do it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So just to tell you what we're going to work through, I'm going to talk a little a bit about who CREST Advisory Africa is. Then I'm going to share with you what ISOLYTICS is, and then going into a little bit more detail with regards to specifically I2MAS. And then you will see there is what is ISOLYTICS Bowtie, checklists, mobile, and surveys. That will be also addressed in some webinars that we will schedule for future. So keep in the loop with when the next webinars will be. And then we'll open the floor for questions. Okay, who is CREST Advisory Africa? So CREST has been established by Nico Snyman, the founder and the CEO of CREST Advisory Africa in June 2014. And we specialized in corporate governance, specifically looking at enterprise risk management, business continuity, compliance management, health and safety, and quite a few others. Just on that, we are also a BE level 2. So so our service offerings that we are providing is we are looking at training, we're providing advisory service, we do audits, we have products that we have available, like toolkits on the ISOs and things like that. We also provide technology, which ISOLYTICS is one of them. We have an executive incubation program that we are running. We do events, and then we obviously do international certifications, but I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Okay, what is ISOLYTICS? So the components of ISOLYTICS, and you will see there in the heading, it says ISOLYTICS GRC. So that is actually the flagship, looking at governance, risk, and compliance. So that is the main component, but also providing combined assurance. We're looking at incident and investigation management. That is what the I2 is standing for in I2MAS. Then we are looking at Bowtie, which is a system that looks at risk management. We've got enterprise risk management. We also have a mobile system that we will also have a specific webinar on, which is very nice. Looking at the the ISO management systems, checklists, also a totally different view of a checklist, and linking it to an ISO management system. And then compliance and surveys, which is very important to understand what your clients and your needs from you and how they find your services. So ISOLYTICS is a system that was developed in partnership between CAA and in partnership with a very leading university in South Africa that assists us in creating this system to create combined assurance on management systems. So ISOLYTICS measures the health and maturity of a management system. So it might be that your organization or your company only have one management system, or maybe they have a few management systems, and it's extremely important that you manage the maturity of it to provide combined assurance to top management on their return of investment, and also to be ready for when there's audits, and it also assists with doing audits, internally and external audits. So it is the only system globally that provides combined assurance. It serves as a repository for evidence. It measures the level of risk as well as the level of assurance, and it enables continuous auditing of risk across various management systems, or if you only have one, looking at one. Okay, so the key characteristics of ISOLYTICS is the ability to interact with a single sign-on. So you can have more than one user, and you can also sign on through one single port into various modules. And it also links the different modules with each other. So it grants role-based permission, so you can give people specific access and permission to do certain things on the system, and it also can do escalations and notifications. Security and segregation of information for different users, ability to store sensitive data, ability for reporting and extracting of information and do reports manually as well as automated. We've got API capability to feed other systems, so for integration, ability to pull in and transform data from other sources, and then visualization through dynamic dashboarding. And this is very important. How do you visualize reports, especially to top management? So a visualization through dynamic dashboards as per client requirements, and looking specifically at each client and what your needs are. So here's just a view of what the system, and I will go into the system just now so that you can have a better understanding and what it looks in real life. But this is just a high level view to say isolytic list, if you will look, oh, just, sorry. I just want to go back and okay, sorry. Okay, if you look here on the left-hand side, it breaks, it takes each ISO and it breaks it down into the different clauses of the ISO. It will look at the context, leadership, planning, support, operations, performance, and improvement for each ISO. So you can manage each clause of the ISO. If we look at some of the dashboards within each of these clauses, Isolytics measures the implementation and the maintenance of the management system against various matrices. And there you, on the right-hand side, you can see some of the matrices that is being used to measure against. Looking at the dashboards, these are typically some of the dashboards that you can look at. So various reports with regards to the compliance to each clause can be generated, as well as the level of risks, as well as level of assurance. And then also looking at an overview with regards to your management system and the maturity thereof. So if you have more than one management system that has been implemented or that you are managing, it also gives you an overview of all of those management systems and what the maturity level is to provide combined assurance to top management. So the system is also built on the PDCA methodology, looking at the plan, do, checked, act, and I'm sure all of you are aware of this methodology. So it is actually built on this methodology, right through the system you will notice this methodology. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with regards to this. We have spoken about it in previous webinars, and if you have any questions, we can go into details with, about that. Okay, so now I'm coming to the I2MAS. We came up with the name I2MAS because of incident and investigation. And we actually, when we started looking at creating this system, looking at personal experience over many years in different environments, we realized we needed to come up with something that links into the management system environment, and that actually enhances when you have implemented a management system, actually assists with creating a bigger view, overall view on not only your incidents, but on your management system as well as looking at from a risk-based perspective. So I2MAS is a risk-based incident and investigation system. Sorry. and it is linked to the ISOLYTICS software methodology, so it forms part of the bigger ISOLYTICS software. I2MAS are not the normal depository for the recording of incidents and investigations, but it is risk-based and looking specifically at your internal control environment and measuring that. So it is built on the P-square, ST-square methodology, and you might ask, what is that? So talking, if we look at P-square, ST-square, it's standing for people, processes, systems, tools, and technology. So we looked specifically at those type of controls and how we actually measure them and see what the strength of those controls are. So if you had an incident, it gets measured against a risk, and you can then measure the controls that you have in place, what the strength of the combined controls are, and then manage that risk and until your controls is strong enough to mitigate the risk. Okay, so if you log an incident, you will get to a screen that you will see the normal information that you usually find in any incident and investigation management system, where you have to actually identify the date, the time of the incident, what type of incident it was, and where it was. So our system is also linked to Google Maps, so you can plot the location of the incident on Google Maps for future reference to do mapping on incident mapping and things like that. Then when you identify the type of incident, you will see, and I have highlighted it here, that all of these types are linked to a specific ISO, information management system. Because of the breakdown of ISO, and I'll show you that again when we look at the system, that each ISO is broken down into various clauses, and one of the clauses is actually operations, and part of operations is one of the requirements of that clause is that you have to do incident management. So that is why we have linked it to all the ISOs, so that it forms part of your bigger ISO management system. Then when we look at, and this is what makes I2MAS different from any other incident management system, is that we actually went and we looked at your controls to say, when this incident occurred, what controls did you have in place? And then according to that and a specific matrix that we are using, we measure the strength of that control. You will see here it is broken down into people, controls, process, system, tools, and technology. Out of all that controls, it then measures, gives you a level of risk rating as well as a level of assurance rating. And that is then what needs to be managed until the incident can be closed out. So the incident is then plotted against the risk matrix, and it gives you also a residual risk rating. The system also gives you the opportunity to link attachments, evidence that is critical to the incidents, and it can lead to liabilities costing the companies millions. And the I2MAS evidence depository can work with any evidence, whether it's writing, whether it's MP3 formats, voice notes, videos, photos, documents, anything can be then linked to it, and it is date and time stamped. You will also have be able to see who has deposited that evidence. So I think at this stage, I'm just quickly going into the system. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to quickly link into ISOLYTICS.
We cannot see the website, Elaine.
Is it? Okay.
We can see the presentation, but not the website.
Okay. Thank you, Nico. Let me just stop share there. I'm going to share the website quickly. Can everybody see the website?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is how we log in. You will see you will have a username and password. In this case, I'll just select a client. Okay, so here on the left-hand side, you will see we have all the various ISOs that you can choose from. In this case, there has already been chosen 3 ISOs. So for instance, this company already has 18788, which is physical security operations management system. It's got risk management and then business continuity management. If I can go into security, the ISO 18788 as an example, you will see on the left-hand side, as I spoke through in the presentation, we have all the clauses with its sub-clauses under it, broken down on the left-hand side. I quickly just want to take you into, for instance, context. If we look at any organization, you have internal context, you have external context, legal, subcontractor, and all of that. You also have risk criteria, and under the risk criteria, all your different matrices will be defined that you will be using. You will see there all the different matrices. If I look at internal context, you will, on the left-hand side, you will have the various requirements as is specified in the clause, and it will be measured then against compliance. Do you comply or not? Your internal control effectiveness, your document assurance matrix, how strong are your documentation that you have in place, and then out of that, measuring your level of assurance and your level of risk. And then going into the audit part to say, was there any non-conformities? And so that will measure your whole system so that we can get to a place where you can have an overview on to say, let me just get to that, to say how mature is your management system. If you look at each and every requirement within that management system, whether you comply or not. Okay, so that's just giving you an overview of ISOlytics, of the general system. If we look at operations specifically, since I am speaking about I2MAS specifically in this case, under operations, you have a requirement with regards to incident management. And this is why we have created the I2MAS access portal under the operations piece. So if you go into I2MAS, you will see you are automatically linked to Google Maps. You will, and this again, we will work with the client to understand, do you have a specific reference number that you want us to create for you, how we can help assist with that. You will see you have the date of the incident, the time, the address of the incident, even what day of the week it is. If you are not sure what the longs and lats is, you can go onto the Google Maps, and then if you click it, you will see it will automatically generate the longs and lats for you there. That is the first page. You go into the second page, which is the description. You will see that there's a reported by, and this is very important so that you have a reference from who reported it. And this is where we link it to all the ISOs to say, if it is a security incident, it will be linked to ISO 18788. If it is, for instance, a business continuity management incident, it will be linked to 22301. It also gives you a second category to say what category is it? Is it a contact-related crime? I've now actually automatically chosen the first one, which is physical security. And then you've got your third category to say, was it whatever the case may be. a description, short description on what have happened, that is free text. And then this is what also makes a difference. You're going to have to say here, what is your immediate corrections that has been implemented? So something happened, what was the immediate corrections that was done? Was it you placed a guard, whatever the case may be? And then also the value of the loss, as well as the loss category, to say it was a financial loss or was it a reputational loss? Was it a legal loss? Maybe with regards to compliance or something like that. When we look at the control, self-assessment is this is where we're going to measure our controls. You are going to identify what controls was in place at that stage when the incident occurred. It might have been a people control, it might have been certain processes, it might be systems, access booth or whatever the access control system or whatever the case may be, what tools were in place. And for each of these, you're going to measure it against your internal control environment and matrix to say, how strong was this control? Was it 50% or was it a 90%? Looking at your processes, also measuring the strength of that control. And then at the end, you will see your level of assurance will be measured against your controls that you have in place, as well as your level of risk. But we also took it one step further to say, what is the cost of that control? To have a person at a gate might be at a 15,000 Rand per month cost. And maybe a certain process is costing a certain amount, 1,500 Rand, for instance. Eventually, it will then measure your level of your cost of your incident versus your cost of your controls as well. So this also gives you quite a good indication of the value of your loss versus your controls. Do I have enough controls or don't I have enough? Can I spend more on controls or am I spending too much on controls? This is then the next step is then to do a root cause analysis to understand exactly where this incident occurred, what led to it, and where it actually started, and then to put your action plans in place. What is also nice about the system is you can identify who needs to sign off the incident and to whom the notifications of this incident needs to be sent. And you will see there you also have the option to say that we're going to monitor this incident on a daily basis, and then who's responsible for that, or on a monthly basis until it's been completed and then signed off by who has been identified to sign it off. And then you also have the ability to do all the attachments, any attachment that you'd like to attach, whether it is documents, statements, photos, footage, CCTV footage, whatever the case may be. So that just looking at the system with regards to incident management. So I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to quickly go back to my presentation. Okay, so from my side, that is on I2MAS. So our next, well, we will have some more webinars. We will be looking at the bow tie, which is actually a separate system that we have, that we are going to link into the ISOLYtics, so that you have a single port of sign-on. We will go into a little bit more detail with regards to checklists, which we have aligned with our I2MAS, so that we actually look at evaluating our controls that is being measured on our checklists in the same way that we actually created I2MAS. We will also go into a webinar with regards to our mobile application that gives access to people that don't have, that's not sitting behind a desk, to actually access the system with information, with photos that can be linked, very applicable in various environments, looking at the transport industry, looking at the security industry, and so many more. That's actually working in spaces where access to laptops and things are difficult. We'll look at different surveys that can be done through ISOLYTICS. We'll do a specific webinar with regards to that. And we already did a webinar on the compliance part, the GRC part of the ISOLYTICS. So if there's any questions with regards to that, please feel welcome to ask us. We can also revisit those webinars that have already been addressed. So looking at our endorsements and our memberships, we are endorsed by the Institute of Risk Management of South Africa. We are part of the PCB, part of ISIS International. We are actually a platinum partner of the PCB, as well as the Services Theatre, and we are proudly South African. So we have here various testimonials. You are also welcome to visit our website. On ISOLYTICS, we will provide you with the website, the web address. So there is one from the Chief Risk Officer of the FIC, Matonzi. I can't pronounce his surname. And we also have one from the Head of Compliance and Assurance, Veronica Maton from De Beers. As well as the PCB, they actually informed us this week that they are that we can place or put our ISOLYTICS system on the PCB store, where it can be procured from there and can be accessed from there, which is a very big honor for us. So we are working on that, and it should be done by the end of this week. So if you want to go and look at the PCB website, you can actually just go to the store and you will see us there by the end of the week. And that, from my side, is in a nutshell I2MAS. Nico.
Thank you, Leanne. I just want to come in here quickly and just see what we can do. On the webinar itself, everyone that has attended the webinar, you have got a 6-week, if you are registering with us, we will send you the access codes to actually work on our system for free, gratis, and mahala. So you've got access to it for 6 weeks. So please send through your contact details to myself and Helene, and we will take it further. Helene, if you can just take sorry, on that slide as well, I just want to mention that if there's anybody that wants to have a proof of concept, please feel free to contact us as well, and we will start with the proof of concept at your environment, and make sure that you are that you are empowered to make sure that the system is working for you and in your space. So Elaine has just picked up on the I just want to mention there on the PECB, the Professional Evaluation Certification Board's accessibility, that they gave us permission to actually place the system on their global platform. Now this means that this system is going to be, from about Friday, it is going to be available to 150 countries, to 1,744 accredited partners globally, and this is for us a huge honor. We've been in consultation with the PCB since January, and they have placed us in different negotiation stages, and the last one was actually last week, that they've informed us that it was approved, and the PCB store will be handling the ISOLYTICS system as well for global sales. So I'm going to open now for everybody ask questions. If you want to ask questions, all of you are now unmuted. So if there's anything that you want to ask us, please feel free. We've got some time to answer questions. We can actually address those questions. So over to all of you. Please ask the questions. Any questions? Your questions will be making part out of our frequently asked questions that we will be having within our system, and it will be available on the website itself as well. Contact details. I just want to ask Elaine to just go for, there's the contact details. So if you are requesting one of our detail, there it is. If you want to have the presentation, you can ask it. If you have the podcast or the video cast of this webinar, it is available to you.
Question from me.
Yes.
When the incident management page, I think it's the first page. I've got some question. It's the first page. I can see it talks to, you have to put the location like country, town. So if I'm an institution and I'm just happens to be in Gaborone, and that my location is always the same. If you're talking country, if you're talking city, but probably because my site is quite huge, so they could. I would want it to be broken, probably to be broken into. Is it something that happened within the perimeter fence? Is it something that happened in the vault? Is it something that happened wherever? Is it? Can it be custom made according to? That's the question. Can it be custom made according to a specific client, if I may ask? The second question is where does it sit? Because does it sit in the cloud, or is it specific? Does it sit in cloud, or do I have to choose as a client that it should sit in a server somewhere? Where does it sit? And wherever it sits, do I have, from an information security point of view, what are my guarantees as a client? Okay, that's my questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mogadiri. Your first question about the customization of this, the I2MAS, absolutely, it can be customized for every client. We've got a number of clients that has got different setups. So every client has got its own environment, and we can customize it to give you a specific login process to Vault, to perimeter, to other places as well. Your second about where is it now sitting? It is a web-based system. So it is cloud-based. It is as we have mentioned, as Leon has mentioned in the beginning, we have developed it through one of our leading universities. Now, if you're looking, they are sitting with about 70,000 to students, and the students, whether they are a doctorate, their personal information is key. So we are working on the same platform as the university that we are working with, and the university is actually giving us the backbone on the systems that we are placing out here. So it's very safe, and it is tested every quarter.
The last question.
Yes, sir.
How, in terms of, I can see there's a couple of us here, in terms of the webinar, other than you placing it on the PCB, because you'd be surprised, not many people are aware of PCB, even though, you know, do we have a plan of expanding the webinar to a much broader, because I can see this, the you know, after this COVID-19, a lot of what you presented in the webinar, and you know, like it's like a one place where everything is, and I can just go there and access it, especially the second application also that she referred to, that is also going to be linked and put in there. That's the bow tie. It's going to be also be linked in there. That's what. So my question is, plans for expanding the webinar.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you very much. I just want to introduce Mr. Mogadiri. He is from Gaborone in Botswana, and he's a very senior member of the DBS group. So the questions that he's asking is very valid. If we're looking at the expansion of this, the reason why we've mentioned actually the PCB is that we as CREST has got an audience of about 50,000 people that we are speaking with on a daily basis. So we are sending out the information through our communication, whether it is now email campaigns, whether it is WhatsApp campaigns, whether it is Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. So we've got a fairly broad audience that we are speaking with. The second one is the university that is working with us. CREST is actually sponsoring one of the master students to be constantly doing R&D for us to test the system, to determine that the system is actually suitable, relevant, adequate, effective, and efficient compared to any other system, and for us to be in front of the market actually. So we've got a dedicated person that is actually looking at the system's performance, the security performance, the feedback that we are getting back, as well as the obligation of that master student is that the master student with the professor that is actually working as a supervisor with the master student must write 2 academical articles annually. So those academical articles has to be approved by the university, and it must be published in an academical journal that is going global. Those 2 articles must also be presented at conferences across the globe, whether it is on webinars, whether it is in person. Previously, before COVID-19, it was in person that the research that we are doing on the system was actually presented in person across the globe. So this is our 4th distribution point. Then our 5th one is that we are actually putting the system out to value-added resellers. Our VARs, value-added resellers, we are linking to a consultancy network of about 3,000 consultants, and these consultants, this will be part and parcel of the consulting toolbox. So the system is for value-added resellers. It is actually a fantastic system to have because you've got everything measurable already You don't have to go into a company and consult or audit a company on an Excel spreadsheet or something that you have built that is not aligned with the ISO standards and that cannot compare ISO standards with each other. And then the last one is the PCB store itself. This is why in this presentation, it is very important that Elaine just go for me three slides back. I just want to get to
And once you are entering, let me give you the 7th one.
Yes, sir.
ACES International runs the webinars. Go and run this webinar on there.
We will do.
And you will have access to more than 20,000 security consultants and
88,000.
88,000.
Well, 80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
5,000 across the world who
We will
can
do that.
benefit from such a webinar.
We will do that. Absolutely.
Obviously, you need to redesign the webinar. There's a certain way that you need to redesign the webinar. And
That's
most
correct.
probably, is just go listen to one webinar and then see how presented. I think this would then fit nicely in there.
100%. Thank you very much for that one. Elaine, just go for me 2 forward. I want to see Isat from the PCB. Next one. That's it. Isat Saiti. This guy here is the head of the management system certification environment. So he's actually looking at approving the management systems that we are auditing. And so from him to actually be saying what we have done there, and for him to actually be putting us in contact with the whole process of the PCB store is for us a big accolade. Now, if we're looking at what Mr. Moghedi has said there, we will contact ACES and we will request if we can be part and parcel of the webinars that they are working with. Thank you very much for that input. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Any other questions that you want to, or comments that you want to make?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi. I just wanted to check that over and above the free trial period with the system, are we going to be able to get the presentation slides that I2MAS was sharing?
Hello,
Definitely.
Pops.
Hi.
This is,
Definitely we'll share it with you.
we will do that. 100%.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, my pops. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Nico.
Right.
Nico, thank you for bringing me closer to Pops, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, Gaborone and Orapa is far from each other. I know. So this is now a good way for you to be speaking to each other. It's great, man.
Yeah, you did such a great job, yeah?
Thank you.
Reuniting long lost friends.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if there is no more questions, then it goes off. Ian, thank you very much for your time and your presentation. It was a job well done. For everybody else that attended, please follow us. We are bringing you fantastic things. Really, we are even during COVID, we are constantly thinking of progress and thinking of new things that we can implement. So please follow us, and thank you very much for your time. Have a great day further.
Thank you, Nico and Eileen.
Pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, I had to take it. I had to take a lefty call, man. How are you?
Good in you.
I'm great. How are you?
Hey, Mpo, can you call me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Nico,
Okay.
we'll be in touch. Thanks. Sorry, I had to step out and take a lengthy call.
No problem. Thank you
All right,
very
cheers.
much.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.